have 6:50. I just found out that the video cable on my computer shuts off my monitor if I touch it. No, I'm not going to do that again.
Don't touch it.
So we have 6:15. Good evening, all. Let me.
Oh, boy.
I think he touched it.
Welcome to the November 23rd, 2021, 6:15 p.m. open session meeting of the Ayer Planning Board. Before we get into the agenda, I'd like to read the paragraph from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, in accordance with Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. Just want to make sure my phone doesn't interrupt us. Got it. I'm sorry. Thank you. Public bodies otherwise governed by the OML are temporarily relieved from the requirement that meetings be held in public places, open and physically accessible to the public, as long as measures are taken to ensure public access to the body's deliberations through adequate alternative means. This meeting will be live on Zoom. The public may participate remotely by joining Zoom meeting ID 833-6548-0732 or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about a remote participation, please contact Heather Hampson, Administrative Coordinator at hampson@ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8220 extension 145 prior to the meeting. Thank you for your patience with that. And I hope that's not too bright in people's eyes, but I need the light. I'm looking to see who's here. Hi, Julie. Hi, Nathan. We have a quorum. Mark, I'm just going to ask you, do you happen to know if Heather is going to join us?
She's there.
Oh,
Yeah,
right,
she
right
is
in the
here.
middle. Yeah, I've got a brand new computer in front of me, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, thanks.
She has the Paul Lynn square.
Yeah. That's much better than Batman and Crooked Walls.
Yeah,
Well
it
done,
is.
Mr. Krantz. Well done. So, first agenda item of the meeting is to approve the agenda. May we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you,
Second.
Mr. Krantz. Thank you for the second, Mr. Diskin. Is there any discussion on the agenda from board members? Silence. How beautiful is that? Jonathan, were you going to say something?
No, I changed my mind.
Okay. Well, I can see you. You actually have, who's in the middle at the top? We have a motion and a second. Hearing no other discussion. All in favor? We're going to do it by squares. Jonathan, Mr. Krantz, how do you
Aye.
vote? Mr. Diskin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. King.
Aye.
Ms. Murray?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Next on our agenda is a covenant or bond releases, and we have none. You know, eventually we're going to have to start giving some money back, Mark.
Oh, we may have one fairly soon.
Okay,
I'm working with the attorney on it.
because there's a lot going on in this town.
Yes.
As they near completion, we should be giving the money back. Hopefully they're getting near
Yep.
completion. Okay, great. Next on the list is a public hearing for stormwater management permit 99 Fitchburg Road. Jonathan, would you mind opening for us?
Planning Board Stormwater Management Permit for 99 Fitchburg Road. The Town of Ayer Planning Board will hold a remote participation public hearing at 6:15 p.m. on Tuesday, November 23rd, 2021, via Zoom regarding the stormwater management permit application submitted by Greenman Peterson, Inc., GPI, on behalf of their client Energy North, Inc. This is a major project disturbing 40,000 square feet or more of land and will include a new stormwater system consisting of grass swales, a sediment forebay, and an above-ground infiltration system. The stormwater management permit is part of a site plan application for the construction of a 1,200 square foot pole barn, which will house two 30,000 gallon propane storage tanks and delivery vehicles on a 2.76 more or less acre lot within the light industrial zoning district. Application and plans can be viewed at the planning board and town clerk's offices during their business hours. Any person interested or wishing to be heard on the proposed plan is advised to call or email a planning board office by November 18th, 2021, or call into the meeting that will be live streamed on Zoom November 23rd, 2021. Please call 978-772-8220, extension 144, or email hhampson@air.ma.us for Zoom information. Signed, Air Planning Board.
Thank you very much, Mr. Krantz. May I ask who's here on behalf of the proponent? I see Chris.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Everybody can hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
All right,
Yes.
excellent. So I've been having some technical difficulties of myself today, so I apologize if I go in and out. So good evening, everybody. For the record, Chris Tumula, I'm the project manager with Green and Peterson, located out of Salem, New Hampshire. With me is some members of our design team, but I think I'll kind of be taking the lead on this part of the project, as well as the latter part for the rest of the site plans. So, Mr. Chairman, if I may, I can share my screen.
Let me see if I can. So I'm playing.
I can
See
take
if
care
you-
of that for you,
Go ahead.
Jeff.
Go ahead, Chris. Oh,
Cindy.
Cindy, you got to give me a chance, okay?
Okay, I will. Oh, you did.
And to the assembled group, I'm trying to help with make sure Cindy can walk the dog and stuff. So if it takes me a moment, please be patient. Thanks, Cindy.
Dog is fine.
Great. Everybody can see my screen, I presume. All right. So as you're all aware, we've been before the board for the site plan development for the above ground propane fuel storage tanks. We've submitted the stormwater management permit. And what we're looking at right now is our grading and drainage plan, which I'm sure you're all very familiar with based on our previous meetings. So just to kind of rehash things, we have Groton Shirley Road at the bottom of the screen. Basically, Groton Shirley Road drains towards our site. So we have a small little drainage swale here to pick up any runoff coming from the roadway, collected via a small head wall here, which then discharges a pipe to a sediment forebay in the rear and an above ground stormwater infiltration basin. The remainder of the site flows across the site as sheet flow and shallow concentrated flow into this infiltration basin. And then the water recharges the groundwater within the basin itself. And then there's an emergency overflow spillway weir located in the rear. This is all consistent with the previous plans that were submitted as part of the site plan application. We did get comments from the DPW director, whom I've spoken to yesterday. There were 6 comments, and I've outlined my response to those in an email to Dan as well as Mark. I'd be happy to go over the comments. I think they're pretty minor, nothing to hold us up, I don't believe, or I'd be happy to answer any questions relative to the rest of the plans themselves.
Any questions from board members? I think I saw an email to that extent. It's probably not a bad idea to just go over them quickly, Chris,
Yep.
because we do need to maintain a public record of what's going on.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
why don't I start this just so we move it through it? There's a general, and I'm assuming you're talking about the letter of November 19th, 2021 that was addressed to the Air Planning Board.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
By Dan Van Skelwick, the director of DPW. And starting in the middle of the page, it says general comments. Number 1, there's an existing water spigot shown on the site. Is the spigot going to be reused or abandoned? Work shall be coordinated with DPW.
Yep.
You want to?
So that spigot is, that spigot is located generally here.
Yep.
Based on my discussion with Dan, it's unknown where the water spigot connects into, whether it connects directly somewhere into Groton Shirley or if it connects into the existing driveway. So we've indicated that it on our site plan, it does call out that water spigot to be removed. And I indicated to Dan the other day that we will cut and cap that at the main at the time of construction, but it'll have to be field located during construction.
I can't believe you don't know where it is, man. Okay, great. Stormwater comments. The project is subject to major stormwater permit for the town's NIPD's MP DES Phase 2 bylaw. Design must meet the requirements of the Air stormwater regulations, most specifically Section 2.8. The current design does not fully meet the requirements of this section. And actually, Chris, I want to put also in, because I did see the email. Mark sent an email to, when Dan sent an email to us, he observed that you guys may not have used the Air stormwater regulations when you would put the plan together. Did you speak to Mr. Van Skelwick about that? is
I did,
concerned?
I did. Yep, I did. The design that we have, when we started this out, you guys were still working on revising or updating your stormwater regulations. It
Mhm.
happened to fall sort of in the time of you guys approving your new regulations and when we submitted the plans. Basically, kind of paraphrasing here, our design meets the mass stormwater policy for stormwater design. Your bylaws have a slight deviation with respect to the requirement for adding a 25-year storm event as part of your pre-post. And again, I'm just kind of paraphrasing here.
Mhm.
So based on my discussion with Dan, we have no issue providing the results of that storm event. We have a decrease in the 2, the 10, the 100, or no increase. We expect the same thing when we run the 25-year storm event. And I believe everything else is pretty consistent with the mass stormwater policy from a stormwater treatment, peak rate of runoff, point of view.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I appreciate that because I know the board's gonna all, as soon as you said we were working on it, everybody on the board shaking their head saying, oh yeah, we've been working on that earlier this year. But thank you for clearing that up. Okay.
Sure.
So you're gonna rework the plan to meet both the NIPD's and our current bylaw.
Yeah, I mean, so we've designed the site already with the NIPD's, in the design itself anyway, so that there shouldn't be any issue there. And then based on my discussion with Dan, obviously we have a fairly large above ground infiltration basin in the rear. If we have to, look at the model and, maybe the emergency spillway has to get slightly larger, or the basin gets slightly, elongated, it's still going to meet the design intent of what we're doing here. And I don't want to put any words in Dan's mouth, but he was in agreement with that.
No, that's fine. I think you're going to find Dan's A, very, very thorough, and B, very easy to work with. So, okay, great. Thank you. On section 2, discharge from the site is to a tributary of an impaired water, the Nashua River. And it talks about the impairment includes phosphorus. Therefore, BMPs should be designed to reduce phosphorus in accordance with section 2.B.6 of the stormwater regulations.
Yep. And so our infiltration basin that's located in the rear, based on Mass DEP stormwater standards, it removes anywhere between 60 and 70% total phosphorus. Dan was in agreement with that, so we comply with that portion of the regulations.
Thank you. Number 3, subsurface conditions should be confirmed by a test pit or other method in the field in locations where infiltration is proposed.
Yep. So we will go out and this system was designed based on using standard the NRCS soil mapping. It's all sand and gravel out there, so we expect when we go out there and to do the test pits, it's going to be sand and gravel, deep seasonal high water table. We'll do anywhere from 2 to 3 test pits located in this area here. Dan was okay with that. It doesn't need to be witnessed by the town, but we will update our stormwater report, update our plans. Again, I don't see any real change to the plans whatsoever.
Great. Thank you very much for addressing that one. Number 4, please. And you said there were 6. So one was number 1, and then there were 5 additional comments. So I'm at number 4.
Correct.
Please also note the requirements of the air stormwater regulations regarding stormwater easements, section 2.10B, need to be addressed.
Yep, we'll work with the town staff to, grant an easement, to make sure that there's access to the site for whatever reason for the stormwater system itself.
Thank you very much. And number 5, O&M plan, operations and maintenance plan shall require the stormwater management system owner to submit an annual report to DPW in accordance with section 2.10D of the Ayer stormwater regulations.
Yeah, our stormwater O&M plan currently indicates we'll submit as needed. We will update that and indicate it'll be submitted to DPW on an annual basis.
Okay, thank you. And I'm guessing, and I have to do this off the top of my head, but I'm not sure if that's new with the updated stormwater bylaw or not. But one of the questions I wanted to mention to the board and maybe to Mark Archambault is how we're going to follow up on that, just to make sure it happens. My experience here in Kristen, we're not going to solve that problem now, but I want to put it on the table. Our experience in town is we've got projects that committed to doing things no one watched. So we got to figure that out. Okay, thank you. Any questions from other members of the board?
I just have one, Chair.
Sure. Mr.
So
Krantz.
this is directed to Chris. when we look at the pole barn, underneath the pole barn structure, is the place where the bobtails are expected to park, is that also compact gravel or is there some, yeah, it is, okay.
It is. Yeah, again, for the board's edification, the barn structure is really there for
Right,
making sure that the employees have a safe place to inspect their vehicles during inclement weather. Anything, any runoff or anything associated with that, with the bobtail and the surrounding areas, everything will drain to the back of the site into the infiltration basin, and it'll provide full treatment, from that respect.
Thank you. Actually, that's related to, so the elevations that I believe you sent to us, the sample elevations show a concrete floor or I'm assuming it's a concrete floor in the pictures. So I actually made the assumption that there would be a poured concrete floor into the pole barn, which brings me to the question of how do we handle petroleum-based products running off the machines and stuff like that. But what you're saying is it's going to be compact gravel, not concrete.
Correct. Yeah, I believe that the detail that we had in there was just a representative detail of a similar type structure that they've designed. But in any event, whether it's a poured concrete floor, a bituminous pavement, or the compact gravel, we've designed the site so that it's higher in the front and everything pitches to the rear. So it'll all be picked up and treated in the infiltration basin in the rear.
Okay, great. One question I haven't asked yet, and I'm not sure if it's related to this, and maybe you can answer it. Is there going to be some sort of spill containment kit on the property in case of a hydraulic or other petroleum product spill from one of the machines?
We
And
don't.
I don't even know if that, I don't even know. Excuse me, Chris. In projects I've done before, we've required spill containment stuff. I don't know if that's something that's required or not. That's kind of why I'm asking for it.
Yeah, we would normally implement a spill containment plan and kit for if this was a gas station development project where you have people, filling their tanks with gas. This is no different than somebody parking the car in a parking lot, although it just happens to be covered for protection from the elements. So I don't see the need to have any sort of spill containment. It's just basically somebody's vehicle, and I don't see that being an issue here and I don't see the need to provide any sort of spill containment.
Okay, and it's not a requirement of under the MGL that you're aware of.
Jody is here from our team. She could discuss any of that from the propane point of view, but just under basic general site plan regulations and design intent. There's not going to be anybody there anyway. So if there was a leak, it's not like there's a manned station for somebody to put anything down on the ground.
Yeah, and it's okay. Food for thought for the future. Thank you. Other questions from members of the board regarding this?
Yeah, Jeff, just for clarification, when you went over the items that came up with DPW, there was an email that we got that addressed a copy of those answers, and what you stated was pretty much off that email, I presume.
That is correct, Mr. Diskin.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure that, there's no difference between what we heard tonight and what was communicated through the email.
No, that was my intent, was to essentially regurgitate the email that I had and the discussions that I had with Dan and provided to Mark yesterday.
Okay, thank you. And Mark sent it to us.
Okay. Other questions, comments, members of the board, or Mark? Anything you want to add to this at this point?
No, I think we should take up the wider discussion of the site plan and how that has changed before we decide on how the board wants to proceed with the timing of approval of the stormwater plan.
Okay,
Because I
thank
have
you.
I have a few things to go over to summarize what has changed since the last meeting regarding the site plan.
And this was in the staff report you provided to us over the weekend?
Yes.
Okay, great, thanks. So we have a site plan review. Are you asking that are you suggesting we should open the site plan review and take them both up at the same time right now?
Correct.
Okay, Mr. Krantz, you paying attention?
yes, I am. Make a motion that we continue the site plan review for 99 Fitchburg Road.
Thank you. Can I get a second? Thank you, Mr. Diskin, for seconding that. Any further discussion, from members of the board? Hearing none. My squares have changed. Mr. Krantz, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. King,
Aye.
Mr. Diskin,
Aye.
Ms. Murray,
Aye.
the chair votes aye. So we are now going to be discussing in tandem the stormwater management that we were just talking about and the site plan
Jeff,
review.
just real
Uh,
quick, one second. You guys never actually opened the hearing for the stormwater. You just read the notice. Usually
Thank you
make a
very much,
motion to do
Heather.
that.
Jonathan, would you pretend we went back 20 minutes and opened?
Yes, I make a motion that we open the hearing for the stormwater permit for 99 Fitchburg Road.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Diskin, for seconding that. I'm not even going to ask for discussion. Mr. Krantz, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Murray, how do you vote?
Aye.
Sorry about that. Mr. Diskin,
Aye.
Mr. King,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Thank you. No, when Heather started to speak, it rearranged the squares on my screen, guys. Thank you, Heather. Okay, so in tandem now, we're going to finish the conversation. We're going to continue the conversation on 99 Fitchburg Road site plan review and the stormwater hearing. Chris, you
Yeah,
shared this?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I was going to ask, so the neighbors can see what I'm talking about, because there was a concern that I didn't have my screen shared when I was reading off my staff report at the last meeting. I wanted to do so at this meeting, and so that means Chris would have to put this excellent colored plan back up there after I just go over a few things. So, yep,
Great.
excellent.
I wasn't
I'll
sure who was,
square-
I was
do
going to
my
ask who was
screen
sharing what, so thank you.
Okay, can everybody see this? Okay. So basically at the, planning board held a site visit on November 1st, and that led to greater discussion about traffic flow, safety, and a few other things. So at the November 9th meeting, the planning board approved the waiver for driveway width to allow for a wider driveway per Ayer zoning bylaw section 915B1. And the plan revision we received after that reflects the wider driveway. The applicant also added 3 notes to the plan, which have to do with items discussed at the November 9th meeting. Hours of operation to be Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Sunday emergency use as needed. Note 21, the maximum number of employees on site would be 6 in total. And number 22, bobtail traffic along Groton Shirley Road shall be limited to local deliveries only. We also have revisions to the landscaping plan. The applicant has revised the plan to show additional plantings along the swale at the front of the property, which I believe you, Jeff, brought up as an issue. These are 5 autumn brilliant serviceberry plants. They reach a height of 7 to 8 feet of maturity, and they're proposed as additional screening, and I believe Chris will show us those. Also, a resident on Groton Shirley Road raised concerns about the proximity of the Shirley Rod and Gun Club to the site. And I shared those concerns with the police and fire departments, and we did receive a graphic that was a result of their analysis. And I believe the fire chief is also in attendance this evening, and he can answer questions about the safety of the tanks in relation to that concern. And we just discussed the stormwater plan. So basically, I think now would be the time for Mr. Tamula to share, to graphically share what has changed on the plan, and then we can discuss the Rod and Gun Club concerns. And then after that, the board should decide if they are ready to act on the site plan and the stormwater plan this evening, or if you wish to go an additional meeting.
Thank you,
So
Mr.
that's it for a quick summary of what has transpired since the last time.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mark. That's very helpful. Let's take down your screen. Let's bring up Chris's screen, please. I like, my opinion doesn't count at this point. I'm not going to say something. Chris, I'm looking behind you in the room. I'm guessing you like plants.
I'm in my office enough. I figured, let's keep the green thumb going. So yeah, I have a couple plants in here.
Okay.
All right. So again, for the record, Chris Muller, project manager for Green and Peterson. Mark, thanks for the overview. The only change I would have to Mark's comments is that with regards to the trees that were planted along the front here, the minimum install is 7 to 8 feet, not the mature height. The mature height of the trees will be anywhere from 20 to 25 feet. So what we tried to do was, since we have the 6-foot fence for the propane tanks, we want to provide something that would, so we feel that the fencing provides a buffer. We want to provide something of higher buffer with the trees, which is why we called out the service berries. So
if I'm not mistaken, serviceberry remains, it's not like a white pine. A serviceberry remains leafed out from the lower parts of the leaders all the way up as they mature.
Right. So I actually have.
That's okay.
So that's basically what we're generally looking to, have planted there. So it provides a nice canopy, a nice, flowering tree. So those trees are shown along here, as well as another one over here. We've also changed the landscaping that was along the front side of the building, and we've just basically made it along the front. We've added the note for the waiver under the zoning table. The waiver was granted to exceed the maximum driveway on 11/9. We've added the notes as Mark indicated. We changed the hours of operation 7 to 7 Monday through Saturday, Sunday emergency as needed. We've noted the maximum employees is 6, and we've added the additional note for the bobtail traffic along Groton Shirley Road should be limited to the local deliveries only. As we heard what the abutters were concerned on Groton Shirley Road, and after the meeting, my client indicated that we would put that provision onto the plan.
Thank you.
Additionally, on the grading plan, we want to make sure that there was some concern with the stockpile area and how it would be maintained afterwards. So we added an additional note to the stockpile plan saying a temporary stockpile area, which is what it used to say, and now it says to be removed at the completion of construction. Refer to landscaping plan for additional information. Therefore, if you look at the landscaping plan, everything's loam and seed, bring it back to natural conditions. In addition to that, we've added some do not enter signs along the western driveway here, and that's pretty much the extent of the changes to the plans. I'd be happy to answer any further questions. I do also have, if the board wants to see, the aerial imagery that we did provide to the fire and police chief with regard to the Shirley rod and gun range and the proximity of our site to that range, and I can provide that if needed.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to see that. If you have it available, Chris, right in front of you right now, if you could bring it up, that would be helpful.
There we go. So what this image is we basically went on Google Maps, looked at with Google, you're able to determine both horizontal as well as some vertical, deviations in the topography. So what we did is we looked at pardon me here. So here is the approximate location of the Shirley Rod and Gun fire range. Beginning of the elevation here is at elevation 230, and then all the way down to an elevation of 210. So you're firing in this direction. There is one hill here. Approximate height of the hill is at elevation 240. So it's 10 feet higher than the beginning of the range and 30 feet higher than the end of the range. There is another hill generally located here. That's an additional 15 feet in height. So you're now 25 feet higher than the beginning of the range, and you're 45 feet higher than the end of the range. Additionally, the trajectory of the range is in this, general direction here. Our site is this orange line here. The trajectory, pardon me, is in this direction, and we're approximately 3,300 feet away from the Rod and Gun Club, which is about 3/4 of a mile. So there's hills, there's trees, there's the sight line and the trajectory. And the elevation of our site is at basically elevation 220, which is 10 feet lower than the beginning of the fire range, 10 feet higher than the end. And then if you add the top of the tanks, we're at basically 14 feet above that. So we're still lower than all the hills that are between us and the fire range. So we don't see this being of any concern, the proximity of the range to our site whatsoever.
Thank you.
Say comments. Thank you, Mr. Diskin. Yeah. Okay, thanks. Yeah, and actually this is helpful to understand because the temple next door to you is also depicted on this too. Okay.
Correct.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, and the distance also that I gave is to the center line of the road.
Mhm.
So it's 3,300 there. So it's probably, it's another 75 to 100 feet away, to the actual location of the tank. So, we're close to 3,350 feet away. And again, it's 3/4 of a mile through some hills and woods and et cetera.
Okay, thank you. Questions about this? Anybody else on the board? Comments?
I'm good.
Seeing none, thank you very much. Okay,
Jeff, I just wanted to also mention that I believe Chief Johnson may be in the audience, and he may also be able to chime in a little bit.
Mhm.
you're on the spot, Chief. How are you tonight?
I'm good. Yeah, I can chime in. We worked, once we found out about this, we worked in conjunction with both Chief Gill and ourselves and Lieutenant Bozick from Fire Prevention. And I can't speak for Chief Gill, but he come up with some trajectory information. We worked off of that. Then I reached out to Jody. We got some of this information here. And from our perspective, the thickness of the tank and the distance, we're more than comfortable with what they've explained to us. So I would have no issues, in answering that question, that would be fine.
Thank you very much, Chief.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate that. And I think, Mark, I don't know if you want to read it or not, but Chief Gill also sent us a letter, and I'm going to paraphrase pretty much along the same lines. If I'm not mistaken, Mark?
Correct, yes, that was an email, not
I'm
a
sorry, yes, thank you.
Word document letter, but yes, we did receive a email from the police chief as well.
And to paraphrase, I think it's very close to what Chief Johnson just gave us. Thank you very much,
Yep.
Chief. Appreciate that. Okay. Back to the color. I'm sorry for losing the flow, but
So
sorry, John, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that up for consideration is whether we vote on these two, the site plan and the stormwater permit tonight. And I just want to chime in. I believe that we should vote tonight.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
I know there are people from the neighborhood here too, so we might want to recognize them for.
Thank you, Mark. I'm more than happy to do that.
Sure.
Did you want to, before we get to open up the floor, if we completed all, if we were to go through the findings and the conditions, do you think that would be helpful?
I can
recommendations,
do
findings,
so.
and
I am
conditions.
ready to do so if the planning board would like to before. So I will share my screen again.
Yeah. No, I think it's an important step in the process. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Oh, uh-oh, can I, oh, there it is. I had to find the little scroll thing here. Okay, so I wrote up findings and special conditions, which go with the standard conditions we have, like, about keeping the site clean and, your basic things like that. So this is if the board is ready to act tonight.
Yep. So Mark, I'm just going to preface this with, these findings and special conditions are Mark's recommendations to be added to this dependent upon our action on this plan.
Correct.
Okay, good. I
and
just
what-
want people to
you know,
understand the process at this point.
Right,
Okay.
and just so, the neighbors and everybody understands the process, basically, what the planning board does for site plans and subdivisions is come up with findings of fact, what the planning board believes the plan does, whether it meets or does not meet the bylaw and other regulations. And then the board has the ability to promulgate conditions under which the site or the subdivision can operate. So I have these draft findings and conditions, which the planning board may agree with or may want to change or tweak, but I put put them out there for discussion.
Yeah.
The
I'd
finding
also-
number,
I'd also like to also say to the neighbors, we're going to go through this now, and even though Mark's reading it, it's not a fait accompli. We're still going to open it up for comments from the neighborhood.
Mhm.
Okay? But this puts all the information out in front of us for the conversation, for this hearing this evening. Thanks, Mark. Go ahead.
Yep. Okay, first is the planning board finds that the proposed site plan for Energy North at 99 Fitchburg Road meets the criteria for granting site plan approval as found in Air zoning bylaw section 3.54. And I have that called out a little bit lower in my staff report, and I can go through each of those items if needed. Number two, the planning board finds that the applicant has worked with the planning board to address planning board and neighborhood concerns regarding vegetative screening, limitations on where large propane delivery trucks must enter and exit the site, and hours of operation. Number three, the planning board finds that concerns related to the proximity of the Shirley Rod and Gun Club to the site at 99 Fitchburg Road have been satisfactorily addressed by the Air Police and Fire Departments in reply to the Air Planning Board. Now I'll read the recommended conditions. Number one, deliveries of propane to the 99 Fitchburg Road Energy North facility by large propane tanker trucks must use the entrance from Fitchburg Road and not enter the site from the east on Groton Shirley Road, or exit the site down Groton Shirley Road unless emergency or other conditions necessitate. Number two, as described in note 22 on sheet 3 of 6 site plan for the Energy North plan set, as revised on November 12, 2021, bobtail traffic along Groton Shirley Road shall be limited to local deliveries only. Number three, prior to any building permits being issued, the applicant shall coordinate striping of the extension of Fitchburg Road serving the site to clarify traffic lanes and assist with traffic flow entering and exiting the site with the Air Fire and Police departments as well as the Air DPW. Number four, the applicant shall install directional signage as discussed with the planning board at its November 9, 2021 meeting and as shown in the revised plan set of November 12, 2021. And those are the signs that Chris just shared with us, the one-way and the stop signs. Number five, prior to any building permits being issued, any back taxes or other financial obligations due to the town of Ayer shall be settled with the tax collector. And I added two new ones related to the site plan criteria. Prior to the issuance of a notice of decision, the applicant shall submit a final plan set showing any revisions to the stormwater system, a stormwater easement, and any other changes not shown on the November 12th, 21 plan set to the planning department. So in other words, we want to see a final plan set that reflects all of the changes that we see this evening. Number seven, all lighting fixtures installed on site must be full cutoff, and details of all lighting fixtures shall be provided on the final plan set submitted to the planning board prior to issuance of the notice of decision. And the following have to do with the stormwater permit. I'll read those since that's related. Based upon satisfactory review by the Air DPW, I recommend that the planning board approve the permit for a major project under the Town of Air Stormwater Bylaw and regulations. Number two, the operation and maintenance plan shall require the stormwater management system owner to submit an annual report to the DPW in accordance with sections 210D of the Air Stormwater Regulations. Number three, prior to issuance of the notice of decision for the site plan, the applicant shall submit a final plan set showing any revisions to the stormwater system, a stormwater easement, and any other changes not shown on the November 12th, 2021 plan set to the planning department. Now, number three is redundant with what we had with the site plan, but as there are two separate permits, I thought in this case, redundancy is not a bad thing.
Okay, thank you.
And,
Can I just
yes.
ask a process question here? Are we requiring a project like this to actually submit as-built?
Yes, that's one of the That's one of the standard conditions of approval. So,
Well, I understand that. So
right, so
basically.
we get as-built after they actually built it, of
Yep.
course.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm just
Yes.
asking because we're asking for updated plans, which I don't disagree with, but I also want to make sure that it's understood that as-built will happen so that the future folks working on this, should something ever happen, actually know what's under the ground over there. As
Yes,
opposed to what we've
absolutely.
got, as opposed to what we've got
Yep, right.
now. Okay, great. Thank you.
Jeff,
Yes, please, Mr. Diskin. Thank you.
okay, so a couple of comments, if you might, on through to Mark Ashenbo.
Please.
So Mark, would you take it back to number 3 of the special conditions, please?
Yes,
Okay, so I'd like to recommend that we change the wording here from prior to any building permits to prior to any occupancy permits. And the reason being that we have winter conditions and the road's going to get wrecked potentially during construction. And I'd prefer that the coordination and the striping happened at the very end. Unless just coordinating means they can wait to the very end, but I'm basically trying to get that to a point where it makes sense in the construction process in the
In
season.
other words, let's not paint the street when it snows.
So,
right, or if it's been disturbed and
Yeah.
you know, it needs
Yeah.
to be repaired
Yeah,
first.
because
Yeah, that's a good point, Ken.
There's gonna be, thank you very much, Mr. Diskin. There's gonna be some apron work and stuff like that there. And
Okay.
actually, Chris, I don't know if you got out there, but they did stripe the rest of Groton Shirley Road. All of a
Yeah,
sudden you
my
come down.
understanding of talking to Dan the other day was the area of Groton Shirley Road that has already been paved.
Mhm.
That's the area that they were looking to stripe.
Yeah, and that has been striped. One of our bike rides went down it the other day. It was like, it stops right at the old pavement, so. Okay, thanks, Mr. Diskin. Other comments you have, sir?
yeah, so on the light, I believe you made a comment about the lighting, and I think the lighting is shown on the drawings in compliance, isn't it, Chris?
gotta be
We do
honest
feel that it's compliant. We will add a note indicating that the fixtures are full cutoff. We don't have an issue with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I can be honest with you, Ken. I looked at the lighting very closely, but don't remember seeing that. I'm not gonna look
It's
it
got
up
a
now.
he's got a full-blown lighting set there
Yeah,
with
I've got a full-blown full set.
metrics and everything else shown on it, so should work. And lastly, I just wanted to make sure people understood when you get to the stormwater, what the easement is all about. And that easement is there in the effect that the town wants the easement and if the town has to step on the site in the event that there is an issue and the applicants or the applicant's representatives in the future don't keep the stormwater system the way it's supposed to be, the town reserves the right to get on the site and fix it. And that's why they want the easement. I believe that's the way it goes. Chris, if you want to clarify.
Yep, that's always my understanding as well.
Okay, it's not just an easement that's arbitrary. It's there because only in an emergency situation, basically, if the town feels they have to get on the site and do something, stormwater wise. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that, Mr. Diskin. That's something when I read it, I don't even think about because it's normal. And that is you want to give the municipality or the local area authority to get onto the property and solve problems in case of not being able to get it done otherwise. Okay. Any other members of the, I'm sorry, Mr. Diskin, are you complete at this point?
I'm good on Mark's stuff and thank you, Mark, for framing that the way you did.
Oh, sure.
Great.
I will
Any other-
unshare my screen for now if people are all set. with that.
Jeff, can I just comment on these conditions real quick?
Sure.
So special condition number
And
5.
excuse me.
stating-
This is Heather Hampson speaking. I don't know if you all can see that, but go ahead.
Special condition number 5, requiring that all taxes and water before issuing a building permits, that's already a requirement of the building permits. And I feel like that should be a standard condition for all site plans. So I feel like we
Yep.
should take it out of special conditions and I'll just move it to the general conditions.
I was
Yep,
actually
that-
surprised that I'm happy with that idea. I think it's good from a process
And then,
standpoint. Because I was surprised to
co-
see that there, honestly.
yeah.
Okay.
And then the condition, I know I can't see it looking at here, but I heard Mark say it, the condition about before the decision is issued that we received final plans. I have a timeline for when I have to issue the decision. So I feel a little uncomfortable waiting for plans because I don't want to miss that deadline if something happens and I don't get the plans on time.
Okay.
So I
I'm
don't know
gonna
if the
ask-
board wants to hold off on issuing the decisions until we get those final plans, or take that completely out of the special conditions, because it just makes me nervous to wait for that.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a question from a timing standpoint. Not that I'm gonna suggest we go forward or not at this point. How long, what is the time frame that you have to work under, Heather?
I have 14 days to issue a decision from the time the planning board closes the hearing.
14 business days or 14 calendar
14
days?
business, 14 days, 14
calendar
business days, yeah.
14, okay. So,
It's
okay,
14
great.
days? It's 14. 14 business, but still, it's like, it's 2 weeks. So it just
Got it.
makes me nervous to wait for those, especially with the holiday and everything coming up. I'd hate to not
Yep.
get the condition done or be crunched on time because we're waiting for those plans that would need to be referenced anyway in the in the site plan. I always
Okay.
reference the plans in the decision itself.
Okay. Chris, without putting you on the spot, how long does it take to get all this done? Should it be determined to go forward?
It would be longer than 14 days, I would tell you that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
With the holiday, with scheduling the backhoe to get out there to do the test pits, to, do what we need to do. I would prefer, and obviously, I'm just the applicant here, I'd prefer possibly if the condition could get removed so we weren't held to that. If that's what, Ms. Hanson was saying.
The final set you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, we routinely, get conditional approvals, from other towns and cities. Whether it takes, a couple weeks to get the plans done or, a month or two, it's all subject to, the conditions, set forth in the planning board approvals.
Hmm.
So,
Mr. Archambault, where do you come out on that?
Yeah, I'm wondering which of these special conditions is most affected by this issue here.
Number 6.
Number 6, final set of plans.
Right, okay.
I believe that's the one you're talking about, Heather, also. Prior to issuance of notice of decision, the applicant shall submit a final set showing any revisions to stormwater system, stormwater easement, and any other changes not shown on the November
Yes.
12th. Okay, yeah,
Okay.
so basically, we're gonna end up in no man's land if that's in there and the plans aren't done, if I may be so
Okay.
blunt.
So we could remove that and still,
Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
Yes, please, Mr. Diskin.
Maybe that's a spot, Mark, we could change it to prior to issuance. So we can issue the decision, but prior to issuance of any building permits.
yes.
Pick building permits.
So it's the timing, yep.
So we have the decision, we can get the decision done with all the language, but he doesn't get a building permit until we double check that all the drawings are perfect, basically.
Right,
we
yes.
have no issue with that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, good.
If I may ask the person who works in the building department, does that work for you too, Heather?
Yeah, that works fine. Typically when we have site plans like this, we require in the building permit that that Mark sign off on the building permit itself anyway.
Sounds like we've got belt and suspenders around that one there, then. Thank you very much. And thank you, Chris. Yeah, we're not always a bad group to work with, are we, Chris?
And the same thing applies under the stormwater, Jeff. You got to change that to number 3.
Thank you.
Right, yes.
It's off my screen in front of me. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh,
why don't we
no,
do
I'm
that?
I'll change that one too.
Got it. So any other further comments from members of the board before we open it up to the residents?
Yes, Mr. Chair, just
Yes,
one
Mr.
small-
King.
one small comment, Mark, on special condition number 4. I think it would just be clearer to strike as discussed with the planning board at its November 9th meeting, and I think that's redundant to as shown in the revised plan set of November 12th. And the way that's written, you'd have to go back to
okay.
the meeting minutes.
Right.
So I think
Okay.
it'd just be simpler to strike
As
that.
shown in the plan set.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Right, yeah,
Got
it
it.
doesn't, yep,
thanks.
that's good.
Great.
Succinct,
Thank
yep.
Thank you, Mr. King. Other comments from members of the board? Questions? Hearing none, I'd like to open it up to the residents or anybody else who may have a comment. Thank you for sharing, Mark. Is it Mr. Bunted?
Yes, thank
Is
you
that
very
your-
much. Good evening, board, planning board. And after listening the technical discussion, I think seem to be fine, but there is a small concern. I'm not sure whether you have thought of a heavy traffic safety, because in our community is a worship place. Normally the weekend we have very heavy traffic, and sometimes the traditional events day we have huge population come in. If the company do not operate on weekend, we feel very safe. But if the company is operating on weekend, it seems to be very unsafe, because we have heavy traffic normally in a weekend. That the only concern, but the rest of all, I think everything is fine technically. But I only having a concern with the heavy traffic on the weekend. Many people coming from different places to worship here, because we are the monastery and a newly established. That's why more people wish to come, because it is new. And apart of that, I leave this decision because I have no authorize on this, but there is a small concern than the traffic safety. People coming from different places, they sometimes could not come direct to the temple, because the GPS is ending up somewhere at the real route. Sometimes they're roaming around, they're driving around, so it goes to your place. In this regard, I think if we having a company here, I leave my message, we should be very friendly neighbor, because people coming different place, they may be roaming around, driving through. So you have a lot of safety camera, you may catch our people roaming around. So if that is not a concern, then I have no worry on that, because people coming sometimes from Florida, from Georgia, like today, people just come to look at our place and worship for a short time. They drive around. Sometimes they go from the end of the Craddon Shelley Road. Sometimes they come here. Sometimes they go ahead, because the GPS is always ending at the real route. When we try first time, they say, oh, you have arrived. You have arrived, but we could not look, where is it? And I went to the company over there, and I could not, this is not the place. And then I go back to other side and come in here. So in this point, in this point, so if you move forward, just let our people sometimes roaming, if they confused, they lost their way. If that is fine, then I think we are the religious group. We do not have any intention to object with any kind of development. And I think the land here put on sale for very long and could not sell it, and just sell now when we are here, and we feel happy. We maybe bring lucky to the town or something. We feel in that way. So it is fine to move forward if you have consider of the traffic safety on the weekend. That is the only thing that I think of. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And if I may, thank you for taking the time to explain it, sir. If I may paraphrase, one is traffic on the weekend. And I would ask, so that we have all the information, is that both Saturday and Sunday, or predominantly Sunday traffic?
Sometimes Saturday, sometimes Sunday. But these 2 days, we always have ceremony. Mostly weekend. The religious performance always weekend.
But okay, so there can be ceremonies on almost every Saturday and on almost every Sunday.
Yeah,
I'm not familiar with the calendar, so that's why I asked.
The Cambodian Buddhist followers, they choose only weekend. Sometimes they choose Saturday, sometimes they choose Sunday.
Thank you.
So they're doing a ceremony. But in the month of April, we have Saturday and Sunday. In that month of April, I think from the second week to the end of April, we have 2 days ceremony every weekend of the end of the April. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for explaining that. And the second piece, and this actually leads to another question, which I'm not sure we can get solved right now. And that is the GPS bringing people. I would ask you, sir, what is the address of your temple?
111 Fitchburg Road, but they end at the real route. When we cross
Yeah.
the real route, they say you arrive. So
Yeah.
people roaming around, drive through. Sometimes they park in front of the Fitchburg 99 Fitchburg Road, and then when they look, they see the flag, religious flag, and they say, "Oh, this is the temple." But they already lost their way and try around.
Yeah, no, thank you. That one of the things that's confusing down there, and we still got Chief Johnson on the phone, and Chief, I'm not on the Zoom, and I'm not sure who else is going to be involved in this, but I believe there's going to be a new address assigned to this property. Am I jumping the gun, guys, or do we have any information on that
You
yet?
are jumping the gun.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, you are. Let's get this resolved with him.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'd
Did you
like to
say
make-
get,
I'd like to make a comment to respond to his question first.
okay,
I think, I appreciate the question, but there's 3 lots, and as we probably know by now, the construction is going to be on the 2 lots that are furthest from his location.
Mhm.
I actually was down there on the weekend when they had an event, and there were quite a few cars within KTR's property that I saw. It was a big event, a lot of cars up and down the street. It may actually help when people see this construction site beyond his property, that they won't get confused because it will not be tree lined anymore. They'll see that property and should go more to the left towards his temple. Once the construction and the fencing are in place, it's going to be clear that the temple is not in that side. It's going to be the temple to the left and the construction and the development to the right of that dress. So they won't get as far as the railroad tracks because they'll see that the construction of that project is prior to the railroad tracks, and they should be able to, it might actually help them find the way. And the signage and whatnot will indicate that there's a different project there. So
thank you also. And if Chris is still on here, I was thinking, what are we gonna have for signage at the entranceways for the project? Without me opening up the plans and looking at them right now.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, so along the driveway furthest from this property, there will be a freestanding sign, indicating, the facility. Obviously, we could have the street address on that sign, and the street address is obviously to be determined based on essentially the 911 criteria, and work with the town staff.
Okay, thank you.
Chair,
So, yes,
so the germane
Grant.
issue is the traffic load on the weekend. So let's clarify that for Mr. Boutin. So as I understand, Sundays, emergencies only, correct, Chris? And
Correct.
Chris, and if I recall, peak traffic that you anticipate in the winter for a Saturday, how many, could you repeat how many trips that would be? Peak traffic in the winter?
I will do my best. So based on the letter that we submitted, we expect in the wintertime obviously at its maximum, the large transports would be not more than 5 days a week. So one large transport per day, 5 days a week. And then during the summertime, be 3 days per week for the large transport. For the bobtail fuel delivery trucks going back and forth, making deliveries, we had a total daily trip of 42 with a peak hour of 6. So in any peak hour, there'd be 6 trips, but that's 3 in, 3 out. So it's really 3 vehicles. So you're talking about essentially 1 vehicle every 20 minutes. I don't see that being a burden on the on the roadway system, or especially the abutting properties.
is that do you understand, is that, okay, thank you, Mr. Boutin.
Yeah, I think it is fine because my people used to arrive about 9 or 9:30. So it seemed to be fine, but just keep in mind, new people come, sometimes they always confused. So we only have some suggestion that we should be very good neighbor let the confused man, losing the way man, having some kind of apology or exception because confused the way.
Thank you, Mr. Bunten.
Okay,
Okay,
thank
other comments from board members? And I think Ken, you or Jonathan, you may have spoke, or Chris may have spoken to it. The address will be set by the 911 system for this property. Am I correct? That's an assumption I'm making. I don't know how that, I honestly don't know how addresses get made. Chief?
Mr. Chairman, I can help you out with that.
Thank you.
So I did talk to the building inspector, and the reason and a little history on that, that used to be Fitchburg Road till 1980 when the government gave them that strip of land, that straightaway that you see now. So that's why there's a little bit of confusion on that property. That was Fitchburg Road up till 1980. And the building inspector, along with the fire department, and I believe the police department was also in on that. They would like to rename it Groton Shirley Road with a numeric to be named at a later date after they did some research with the numerical numbers up Groton Shirley Road.
Okay, thank you very much, Chief. Other comments from folks? Sarah, good evening.
Yeah. Good evening. I have a couple, but I'm hoping to run through them quickly.
Excuse me, I didn't ask Mr. Bunten to identify himself, but if you don't mind, Sarah, would you please identify yourself?
Sarah Wibby, Groton Shirley Road.
Thank you.
Can you just go over the traffic signs for me one more time?
The traffic signs on the property, on the driveways at the property?
Yeah,
Chris, do you mind?
So
Would it be helpful
basically,
to have the plan up on the screen, Sarah?
Yep.
yes.
Okay, great. Why don't we do that? Thanks.
Okay, so we obviously we have an entering and exiting full access driveway here. We do have a stop sign. So exiting the driveway, there's a stop sign. We do have the MUTCD sign key indicating what we are proposing here. On the westerly driveway, we have do not enter signs, so no trucks will be coming in here. And then there is a stop sign for anybody leaving the site as well. So what that will do is that will require the trucks to come in, circulate around, drop the fuel here, and then exit out the site and then enter out westerly along Groton Shirley Road. So that is the signage that we are proposing.
Fitchburg Road.
Yes, towards Fitchburg Road, correct.
Towards Fitchburg Road, yeah. I don't know where the road's going to stop and start at this point. We'll find that out. Okay, Sarah, go ahead.
That's helpful. Thank you. I have a couple more, just a couple more. Sorry.
Please do.
So I see the tanker on the site plan. I think it's page 3 of 6, is 60 feet long. I don't see a picture of the bobtail. Like, can you just give me like a rough
Right there.
number?
So this would
how
be,
big is it?
that's a bob. It's essentially the size of a UPS truck, ballpark. The fuel tanker truck is similar to what you would see at any gas station. With what we consider a WB50 tractor trailer. That is the transport that is actually putting the fuel in the tanks. These are the small delivery trucks that you see around town, making the local deliveries to the residents.
Okay.
Hey, Chris, I think submitted the last set was an actual description of the truck. I'm going to pull that up. I think the link was on that. So
Correct. I don't have that in front of me. So yes,
I'll pull it up because if it's the one that you all described. But go ahead, Sarah. Other questions, please?
Yeah, I think I'm bringing it to a close. I wanted to just
Take your
note
time,
that
please.
on page 3 of 6, like when you guys noted like the bobtail local traffic only, I think it was item number 22. Do you know what I'm talking about?
correct. Yep. There's a note on the plan. Bobtail traffic along Groton Shirley Road shall be limited to local deliveries only.
All right, I'm just gonna share my thought, and I understand how it works, but I can share my thought, but that's all. I would love if you could put the note about the tanker trucks right below that, just so it's clear that you guys have agreed not to come down with the tanker trucks down Groton Shirley Road unless an emergency or it's a necessary condition.
Are you requesting to add that to the plans?
Yeah,
Okay, I just want to be clear on the request.
sure.
Well, I know you guys agreed to stipulate to that before, Chris. I did not check to see if it was on the plans. Would
It's
that
on-
cause a problem?
So I do have Pete Crop here from Energy North. I would just, like to get his input on that. I don't see it being an issue. But
And also, I think Mr. Diskin has a comment also to that.
Well, it was on your special conditions, Mark, right?
Yes,
So it's in the
he's
decision.
shaking. Yeah, it's in the
Doesn't hurt
decision.
to Put it on the plan. Why not?
And if-
Yes, yep.
Yep, and if I may, if I read this correctly, the description of the purchase for the fuel truck, the bobtail, if you will, it's described as a body length of 216 inches and a body height of 144 inches. I can't do the length in my head, but it's 18 feet. If you take 216 divided by 12, Sarah, that's an 18 foot long, about 3 feet longer than your average pickup truck these days on these new big pickup trucks. I'm being facetious. 12
Bigger
feet
than an
high.
Amazon van.
I'm sorry?
Bigger than an Amazon van.
It's probably the size of a classic UPX truck, I would imagine, but yeah,
it's bigger than a bread box.
All
but
right.
that was submitted by the applicant last week to us. Okay. Yeah, go
One
ahead,
last-
Sarah.
One last question. And the question is, local deliveries only. Has the planning board that you recall ever put this on one of their site plan approvals?
We haven't had a project like this to put it on recently that I know of.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I probably have the longest tenure here and we've not had a request about truck traffic like this.
Okay, I'm just curious. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Sarah. Anybody else have anything they would like to, any input?
But we didn't get the
Questions?
final comment from Energy North on putting that note on Plan 3. So I think Chris was teeing it up, but we never finished. He never finished.
Thank you.
So Pete, do you have any concern with that?
For the record, Peter Crop, Energy North. No, absolutely not. I mean, we went forth and stipulated, we don't want trucks coming in from Groton Shirley Road with transports. I do not want them making right-hand turns into that, into that property, period.
Come to think of it, they can't get in, but yeah, I'm sorry, Peter.
Yeah, I do not want them bowing out into oncoming traffic, especially around a curve. So I can tell you we're 100% in agreement. We will not be doing that, simply for safety. So yeah, we're on board with that. And we're on board with limiting bobtails to local deliveries. If we do not have a delivery down Groton Shirley or that, I forget the name of the road, but it's you take a left off Groton Shirley when you're heading east. If we're not in that neighborhood, our bobtails should not be there.
Thank you. I think that is it.
I have a
Am I
question.
mistaken? I'm sorry, yes?
Yeah, I'm not on camera. My name's Mike McDonald. I have a question, and could you bring up the colored site plan again? I just have a question on some distances of something.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, while we're bringing that up, could I ask you what your address is, please?
Actually with Blun. I'm with Blun 10. I just have a question about the distance of the tanks.
I'm sorry, sir, I couldn't
Blun 10.
understand.
I'm with Blun 10.
Oh, thank you very
Blun 10.
much. Thank you. I didn't get an address for Mr. Bunten. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
We did
actually-
eventually, he told us, yeah, thanks.
Okay, please. We have a member join the meeting today, 6 people in as a community member. I am the president of the Cambodian monastery called Cambodian Temple here. My name is Bunten, and there are some people listening with us like Wanarat Sarin, Michael McNell, and 2 more people from Linz. They also listening this because I have a language barrier. I do not understand much. So I ask my members, committee members to join in listening. So please go ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So
Okay, Mike, thank you very much.
I'm not really great at reading these drawings, but my question is, I see the exit entry there. Can you depict on there where the existing driveway is on that drawing currently that goes back? Is that it right there? So
No.
what's the distance? Can you scroll up a little bit for me?
Chris, the existing driveway is not on there. It's much further to the west.
This
Is
is
it?
the existing location. This is the existing driveway
No,
today.
that's,
This is where,
that's to a lot, but that doesn't lead, that's to the lot.
That's what my question is. That to a lot or is that?
That's not the driveway to KTR.
oh, no, I apologize. Let me see if I can grab another.
I think he's asking
Yeah.
about the driveway to KTR, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Thanks for picking up on that. Is exactly.
If I remember it, yeah.
Yep, so this is,
Okay.
that's the driveway. This was the driveway I was just showing.
And the tanks are gonna be on map 1 lot 6 then?
Essentially in here.
Okay, understood. Okay, that's the only question I had. I appreciate it. And yeah, I appreciate your time. Thanks.
No, thank you very much, Mike. Any other questions out there? It's so hard when you can't see people in a room. So please just speak up if you have a question. I think we're all set for that comment portion. I put it to the board. How do you want to move forward?
Let's do it.
You are the man of the motions, Mr. Krantz.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the site plan for 99 Fitchburg Road with the findings and the conditions as articulated by the town planner earlier this evening.
Seconded.
Thank you, Mr. Krantz, for the motion. Thank you, Ms. Murray, for the second. Any further discussion from the board?
Just one, just to clarify, Jonathan, that I know your intent was as we discussed with the town planner this morning or this evening.
Yes,
Will you consider that friendly, Mr. Krantz?
that's fine.
I know, we put you on the spot and then we pick on you for it. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. King. Any other comments from the board? Chris, you have your hand up?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman. So to clarify, is this a motion for the site plan as well as the stormwater permit?
Just the site plan. I'll do the
Okay.
permit after. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Krantz is a very detail-oriented guy sometimes. Okay, great. So working on the site plan alone right now. No further comments from the board. Mr. Krantz, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. King.
Aye.
Mr. Diskin,
Aye.
Ms. Murray,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Thank you very much. Mr. Krantz.
I can make a motion that we approve the stormwater management I'm sorry, I'm just looking for the right line. Yes, the stormwater management permit for 99 Fitchburg Road with the conditions as discussed this evening.
Seconded.
Thank you for the second, Ms. Murray, and thank you for the motion, Mr. Krantz. Any further discussion from the board? Hearing none. Mr. Krantz, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. King.
Aye.
Mr. Diskin,
Aye.
Ms. Murray,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Thank you very much. Before we close this, I want to say thank you to everybody for doing the detailed work necessary to get this done, and I really do appreciate the input from the neighborhood. I think we were able to work something out here. Mr. Bunten, it's nice to see you on Zoom, and it's good to meet you virtually this evening.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Bye.
Thank you. Mr. Krantz, would you like to close the hearing and the continued site plan review, please?
Yes, I'd like to close the hearing for the site plan review for 99 Fitchburg Road. Make a
Second.
motion, yeah.
I'm
Seconded.
sorry. Thank you. Moved by Krantz, motion seconded by Murray. Any further discussion? Hearing none. They've all moved again. Mr. Krantz, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. King,
Aye.
Ms. Murray,
Aye.
Mr. Diskin,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion that we close the public hearing for the stormwater management permit for 99 Fitchburg Road.
Seconded.
Thank you, Mr. Krantz, seconded by Ms. Murray. Any discussion? Mr. King, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Murray,
Aye.
Mr. Diskin,
Aye.
Mr. Krantz,
Aye.
the chair votes aye. Thank you very much. And Chris, you'll be working with the office to get the rest of this taken care of?
Well,
Thank you.
great. Thank you, everybody. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank
You
you, you too. I've
you.
forgotten
Thank
the
you,
week we were
everyone.
in. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jody. Thank you, Sandra. Sorry we didn't get to chat with you tonight. Cheers.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, next on our agenda is continued public hearing, definitive subdivision. Mr. Krantz,
I'd like to make a motion that we continue the public hearing for the definitive subdivision Wright Road, Stratton Hill to our next meeting on December 14th.
Seconded.
thank you very much. The motion, Mr. Krantz, seconded by Ms. Murray. Do we have any discussion?
Is there a misunderstanding?
I'm going to bring that to the floor. Mr. Diskin, if you'd like to, please do.
Well, the notes on the agenda about this item basically say it's a discussion tonight of potential peer review. So I'm not sure we want to continue it to the next meeting. We want to talk about the peer reviews tonight.
Mr. Krantz, do you see that?
Yeah, I see that. Sorry about
Okay,
that.
that's okay. I think we all read it very quickly the other day and got it. Would you like to
Question?
modify, would you like to?
Julie,
This is
Yes,
a slight aside, but I don't want to forget the question. Am I not supposed to second the motion if we had this?
no, you did.
no, you
No.
did exactly what you're supposed to do. Now
Cool.
we're discussing that the motion may not have been perfect, so let's,
Okay. You can
okay.
continue. I
and we
mean,
can
you
give
can
Mr.
continue
Krantz.
the discussion, nothing official.
We need to open it up one way or the other, so continue discussion. This puts us in an interesting position, however, Mr. Archambault did circulate a memorandum about this with us. And, well, Mr. Krantz, you put a motion on the floor. And we have a second for it. Your discussion, I was gonna say a discussion about that motion started. Do we want to ask Mr. Krantz to modify it, or do we want to vote on the motion as it was made?
I think we want to discuss it a little bit more.
Okay.
So the issue really is, do we want to discuss the peer review consultants this evening or not? That's the issue, right?
That seems to be the issue.
And I just wanted to talk about a little bit of this. What I'd like to discuss with the board isn't so much who we'd like to, that's a little bit further down the road, but considering that as far as we know right now, the applicant for Stratton Hill will be back before us on December 14th. There's a little bit of lead time that I would need, and whoever else might be seeking peer review consultants for this project. So I just wanted to relate my latest findings based on conversations with the Conservation Commission, as well as some research I did about where we are in the process of obtaining peer review consultants, and just, get a little bit of feedback. I am not ready right now to say we've received RFPs from the following firms. We're not choosing a firm tonight. It's just a little bit of an update, just so that I have some marching orders for the next few weeks. So, I see this as a very quick discussion, just to get some feedback from the planning board.
With that being said, any further discussion?
Yeah,
Vote on the
I'd like-
motion. Go ahead, Mr. Diskin.
I guess, I'd go with Mark's recommendation that we have a brief discussion on some of the important points that we think we might use going forward. And I guess I'd try to figure out how to modify that motion, or do we vote no?
Can I simply withdraw it? Is that possible?
Please do. Yeah, why don't you withdraw that motion and do it again?
Yeah, I'd like to withdraw my previous motion.
Thank
And
you.
what I'd like to do is make a motion that we actually continue the public hearing for the definitive subdivision, Wright Road, Stratton Hill, so that we can have this discussion about the peer review.
Second.
Except, thank you for seconding, Mr. Diskin. Moved by Krantz, seconded by Diskin. Thank you very much. All in favor, Mr. Krantz,
Aye.
Mr. King,
Aye.
Ms. Murray,
Aye.
Mr. Diskin.
Aye.
Mr. Tillotson says, the chair says aye. And as an aside, you never want to see the making of sausage either. Okay, though it says discussion, I think, Mark, this is probably a great opportunity for you to go through your memo quickly, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, basically, in terms of peer review consultants or consultants, we know we need a traffic study. So I've already approached several. Well, first of all, I did fine tune the RFP. I want to thank also Philip Gray, who lives on Wright Road for his assistance with some of the ideas for that. We do have a RFP that is ready. I did share it with several consultants. Most of them want to wait though until we see the applicant's traffic study. My understanding is they have hired VHB to do a traffic study for them. And the consultants that I've spoken to want to see our RFP as well as what VHB has done before they get us any estimates. So, but I have started that process, so I think that one is pretty basic. I was discussing engineering. Right now, I'm just going
Sorry,
to run
Mark.
through these real quick,
Excuse me,
unless you want
Mark.
to take traffic. If you want to take each of these in turn
Right.
first, we can do that.
I want to take them one at a time and comment separately, one at a
Sure.
time. And
Sure.
yeah. Jeff,
Please, Mr. Diskin, go.
I'm just asking if we could have Mike do them one at a time and we could each comment one at a time on each line or each suggestion that he has, I guess.
I would agree with that. Other members, okay with that? Yeah, I think so. Let's do them one at a time, please, because I think it'll unmuddy the water very quickly. It'll muddy the water very quickly if we start taking them all at once. So, Mr. Diskin, do you have any comments about the traffic study that you'd like to share?
Are you finished, Mark? Sorry. On the traffic, I mean.
Excuse me,
I
Kevin?
mean, okay, if we discuss the traffic one at this point,
Oh,
Mark?
yes, absolutely.
Good, thanks.
Yeah.
Mr. Diskin, you have the floor.
Okay, so on the traffic, I guess I'm not necessarily in agreement that we should be waiting for the consultants to look at the other guy's traffic report. I thought the idea that we were going to bring an independent party in was that we would be doing our own research on our own RFP and get it done in concert with theirs so we could have a comparison. So if theirs tends to be light, we include more. I think we all looked at the scope of work that you presented, Mark, and at the drafts and so forth, and we were happy with that. So I'm trying to figure out why we would wait to see the other one, compare it, and not just go ahead and get the traffic study
Yeah,
going.
I wonder that too.
Yeah, that was based on my conversations with several of the potential consultants. They felt it was really less confusing and best practice, so to speak, to simultaneously review the study that was done by the applicant, look at what we want to see, and then see where the gaps are. They felt that that was the best way to do it. So that's all really, that's all I have to report is basically that was the advice I received from everybody I contacted was, you know, they want to see the traffic study of the applicant simultaneously with our wish list of what we would like to see studied before they reply.
So basically, when you say
Why that is the case, I'm not exactly sure, but that is what they told me is best practice with these sort of things.
If I may, let me take a shot at this, okay? It sounds to me like they want to do an apples to apples type study. In other words, instead of them going out and doing a study, they want to make sure that they cover the same, that both studies cover the exact same thing. Or, yeah, I'm sorry, Jonathan, if you don't mind, I'll give you the floor in a moment, okay? Number one, number two, we see traffic study in here, and I don't see anything about traffic analysis and the safety analysis piece of it also. And I would hope that this is a shorthand here that would indeed be willing to reflect that. And the other point I wanted to make is, I don't know that we have enough information from the applicant to be able to do a thorough traffic study. I'm just going to put that on the table right now. Mr. Krantz, you had something to say?
Oh, only the observation. I don't think that it's apples to apples. I actually think it's the opposite. I think they want to cover what their thinking is that they want to eliminate redundancy and really just target the gap areas wherever it's clear that our concerns haven't been addressed by the applicant's study.
Thank you.
That's what it sounds like.
I see that point now also, Mr. Krantz. Thank you. Yeah. Further comments? And Mark, I hope you don't feel like we're beating you up, okay?
Oh, no, it's.
This is a work session at this point, okay?
Right.
Thank you.
No,
Okay.
I'm learning as we go.
Any comments from anybody else at this point? And we can move on from engineering, from
I
traffic
was
to
waiting for
engineering.
Julie. I was waiting for Julie and Nathan before I came back.
Yeah. I see Nathan shaking his head. Don't know if Julie has any comments. No, Ken, please go ahead.
I'm of the mind that as you mentioned, we were going to do more of a safety study than a traffic study. I mean, any traffic consultant can tell you with 35 units, how many trips per day are going to be generated out of the complex. But we were going to be looking further down the road, further into intersections and things of those lines that I don't think they're going to put in their traffic study. Why would they? So,
Right, and I want to let the planning board know that that is in our RFP, a lot of those traffic considerations about the fishermen and the pedestrians and the town beach and the narrow roads, all of that is within the RFP that we drafted.
right, yeah, I know that. That's what I'm good with that. We looked at that and we all were good with it.
I'm sorry, Mr. Diskin, continue. I'm sorry, I don't want to jump.
I'm trying to just guess. Could you go back and at least ask the Mark, if we're talking about a financial problem here, that they don't want to commit to our study because they're going to save money looking at the other study, or what is the basis of not just going ahead and doing the study? It just doesn't seem, I mean, I've done a few traffic studies in my life, and we've been as a board in this condition before where we did all town, we had 2 consultants. They came in and fought about, lane changes and things like that.
Right.
Separately. So the
Okay,
basic.
yeah, there's one in particular that I have had, some good back and forth with, and I will call him again so I can get a good firm answer to relate to the planning board about why they would like to wait.
Yeah. Can I also ask a question, and it may or may not be related to that, Mr. Archambault? And that is the area of the town sees very, very different traffic patterns at different times of the year. And I'd like to get some input. If you may recall, as a for instance, the all-town traffic study, we asked them to come back in and do a separate study at a different time of the year. I'm going to be the first one that says the word pandemic this evening in this meeting, but the pandemic actually pushed that out the window. If you recall, and so I'd also like to get some feedback from, if it's at all possible, on how difference in traffic patterns based on school versus non-school, just to use that as an example, town beach versus non-town beach and stuff like that. Those are feeder roads. I'd also like to make sure that one of the things that happens in this area of the town, just because it drives by my house, is that transfer station traffic. That's Wednesday and weekend traffic. So I just want to make sure that those are picked up. I don't recall offhand. I know I should remember everything we read, but I don't recall offhand what was involved with that. So
right.
I don't know about that. The transfer station, but whatever.
I'll invite you to come hang out in my yard for an hour on any Wednesday, Saturday, or Sunday, Mr. Diskin.
I don't know.
It'll remind you of Washington Street.
Not sure how the development is going to impact the transfer station. That's my comment,
Yep. Okay. Let's move on to engineering, please.
Okay, engineering. Well, as you know, that in the past, when we had a full complement at the DPW, we had our DPW superintendent and the town engineer. The town engineer is now the DPW superintendent, and they are seeking to hire a town engineer. So Dan right now is very, very busy, and I was thinking that given the complexity of the subdivision, and he agrees that it would be a good idea for the town to have engineering assistance with this project. And I am trying to set up a meeting with Dan next week to scope that out. But basically what I see this entailing is basic engineering review as we would get from the DPW in the past. I'm going down the bullet points here. Assess the potential impact of blasting. That's one of the key considerations. How blasting might potentially affect changes to surface and groundwater flows. Assess the adequacy and location of the proposed stormwater management facilities. Review and assist the planning board and DPW with consideration of the stormwater permit. Assess the need for off-site improvements to Wright Road and infrastructure resulting from the project. And I would say Wright Road and surrounding roads. Assist in any other engineering matters as may come forth during the review process. And ensure that all town of Ayer and Massachusetts engineering requirements for the subdivision are properly adhered to. So that's sort of a goal list of what we would like the engineering study to come up with. And I will be meeting with Dan next week to begin scoping out the engineering study. So, and that's something which I would like planning board feedback on, of course, before we seek to obtain proposals.
Okay, thank you. Any comments from members of the board? Mr. Krantz?
Yeah, I'm particularly concerned with the bullet, assess the need for off-site improvements to Wright Road and infrastructure resulting from the project. Is that way too wide open? Does that lead us like way too far down areas that may be beyond our purview or the purview of this particular project? In other words, where's the fine end where you say enough? I mean, where does it end with that? You could say, I just feel that that's so open, that can include so much that there's no end in sight. You know, I'm a little concerned.
I think, I
Yeah.
don't think so. And I think it can be, once we actually write the scope of the RFP, I should say, we can fine tune that a little bit more. And I think that engineering practice will, past engineering practice that they will be familiar with will tell us what is pertinent and what might be way off a tangent.
Thanks.
So for
Yeah.
now, I'd like to keep that in there.
Yeah,
Thanks.
my concern is that Wright Road as it exists right now has issues of engineering issues right now. We'd all agree with that. And it's
Right.
just going to be challenging segregating issues that are caused by or exacerbated by the Stratton Hill project and issues that simply exist now, even without that subdivision in play. Like, for instance, the narrow crossing over the culvert between the two ponds. I mean, you know what I mean?
And that's actually on Snake Hill. Mr. Diskin had his hand up.
Yeah, so I want to just tweak a little bit what Jonathan said here. And I'm on board with the list of the way, pretty much the list the way Mark gave it to us. But to clarify, Jonathan, I believe what Mark was mentioning is that this is a very, very broad-based list now. But in the event that we do go ahead with the engineering, we would develop a scope that would be much tighter.
Okay.
This is only the start of the process. That we broad look at things. Then as the development comes along, and also keeping in mind that the big question for me, Mark, is in a typical approval, we have been reaching out to the engineering department at the DPW, and I believe that has been at no cost. I think what you're anticipating now is that this would generate a cost and a separate cost. So we clearly would have to give the developer some leeway as to, are we talking, 10,000, 100,000? What do we think we're going to ballpark the thing at? I guess you could work that out with Dan Van Skelquick, but we would typically have to go through one of these at a time and then maybe budget each one or something. But I want to assure Jonathan that I would agree with Mark that this is a broad stroke of the brush now, and we would have a scope for each one of them as we tighten it up. But I think we have to agree as a board that if the DPW thinks they can't handle it, and as a matter of course, we would in all probability hire someone to do the stormwater at a minimum. It would, the only thing we're really talking about adding here is, I think, the general review that's done with the comment list that comes, at the beginning of the project, some of which has already been done with the initial drawings. DPW has a letter out right now, which we have along a list to take a look at. So this may end up being more. There could be more at the end when engineering gets involved with the process. But if he's telling us that he needs an assistance, then I think we have to kind of move down that road and then work it out, with the developer as to, the other concern I would have with this, I'll tell you, this is a major concern, is that I don't want to put us in a situation where we can't get anything done because we're waiting for RFPs for this project to get hire an outside consultant to look over the job when we have an obligation to respond in a certain amount of time. And only in fairness to ourselves and to the to the applicant, we have to be prompt in what we do things. So I wouldn't want to have to
Right.
come back, have to come back to the board and say, Mark, oh, well, they said this and that's that. I can't get the plan, I can't get the RFP out, whatever, So I guess you'd have to
Right,
think about with Dan, how we can be assured that we have something, we're pretty close to getting it done somehow. I don't know. You'd have to
Right,
figure.
yeah, and that's a very good point, Ken, and that's why I wanted to have this discussion before December 14th, so that, so we can be well on our way to having this in place by then, hopefully.
Right. And again, I presume you and Dan would be researching, and there's got to be a ton of companies that can do this kind of work. I mean, we have them right here in town, actually, but that could
Right.
be kind of a conflict.
Mhm.
So, yeah, get a group of qualified people that are ready to go and then
Mhm.
go for it, I guess.
Yep.
Any other,
Okay,
anything
I'll-
else, excuse me, Nathan?
Oh.
Yep. Mr. King?
I'll just add,
Please.
just to emphasize, I think, where Ken's going, and I agree. The planning board, we would take inputs, but we would be the gatekeeper of proposing and voting on any scope of work. And this is not any approval. This is just showing that there's an intent, as point one. And then I do think it's really important to underline, we should be very clear about what's pre-existing conditions and what is impacted by the potential for a new development. And
correct.
and and that it might tie into what Ken is saying, that we don't want to, we should be careful about burdening a project because of pre-existing conditions. Even though there's, as you said, Jonathan, I agree, there are issues that we may want to, we may require engineering, or we may desire engineering review that's just associated more with pre-existing than new, or the addition of new traffic, additional traffic.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a
Julie,
great,
anything?
that's a great too. And there's a principle too called rational nexus where, in states that have offsite improvements that are more formalized in Massachusetts, you have to make a clear differentiation between, the existing conditions and, the poor state of something and what might be made worse by a new development. And you have to quantify that before you can assess any impact fee or something like that.
Yep. And I'm just gonna, and I'll put one more thing in here. As you all may be very aware, I am very aware of this. I still haven't gotten a question to my initial question, an answer to a satisfactory answer to my initial question. How many units?
35 is my understanding.
Well, we've seen lots of numbers, so
I
we
know.
gotta keep that in mind too.
We will see
And I'm
when-
not being facetious. I'm
No,
not
I know.
truly not being facetious, but we have seen one, we understand the plans are a way for tweaking.
Right.
Hopefully December will bring something that we can work with, okay?
Right.
If you don't mind, why don't we go on to, if we've exhausted engineering at this point, let's go on to environmental, please.
Okay, environmental, sort of a recent development in this, in conversations with the Conservation Administrator, is it appears that the Conservation Commission would like to take the lead on this aspect of the project for obvious reasons. They have a conservation analysis requirement where they get input to the planning board on the conservation analysis. And so my understanding is the commission will be working to finalize their own scope for this sort of work. And I thought that any sort of other concerns that we may have as a planning board that might go a little bit beyond that, we could sort of incorporate into theirs. And that's something I would like to work out with the commission. Though of the three that you see here, this one is the most in flux right now. But, we know that, this project is subject to MIPA and MISA, the Environmental Protection Act and the Endangered Species Act. There's also a conservation management permit out there that we just learned will need to be revised. And so I think some aspect of this might be local oversight of that and keeping everything on track and making sure that we understand what the implications of those permits are at the state level. And also there, and I have concerns about, not only the impact of blasting on, homes or, infrastructure, but, how might it affect wildlife? And, does the timing of blasting, could we time the blasting to mitigate against adverse effects to the wildlife and natural features? And that's something, personally, I would like to see answered in an environmental study. And also we could get advice on how to mitigate environmental impacts generally. Seeing that the Conservation Commission has, I think, effectively agreed to take the lead role on this, I see us, the planning board's interface here as being more coordination with what the Conservation Commission is doing rather than us taking the lead role on this aspect of things.
Comments from the board? Yeah,
Does
Jonathan.
that sort of make sense?
I got 3 hands up at once. Jonathan got his
All right.
finger up first, so Jonathan gets to lead. Go ahead,
I'm
Jonathan.
concerned about this language of conservation taking the lead.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
I don't know if they
Right.
have legal authority to do that. We have the legal authority. They consult to us. The leadership
I'm
comes
gonna-
from this board.
Oh, okay, well,
Excuse me, excuse me.
maybe I didn't use the right choice of words here, but
Hey, Jonathan and Mark,
What's up?
before we get in, okay, you know how I am about arguing in the meeting, okay? I'm gonna try and put some oil on the water here, okay? The OSRD is an opportunity for us to work with the planning board, for the planning board and the Conservation Commission to work together. Okay, I think this is a project, I'm sorry?
With the applicant.
With the applicant. So I think this is an opportunity for us to, Jonathan, not only our first real foray into working with the Conservation Commission, okay? And I would, in any situation, I would be welcome to have input from somebody else who may be more expert in the field than I am. So when I hear take the lead, I hear it not as they will make all the decisions and we will have to follow. I think it's a meeting of equals at this point, or I would recommend a meeting of equals. How we accomplish that, I don't fully know right now, but that's just I wanted to just put that out on the table. That's the view I have. And I don't know if you want, I'm happy to discuss it, quite honestly. But when I heard Mark say, let conservation take the lead, I don't want to use the word assume. I believe that the folks who are spending their time in the Wetlands Protection Act and the Town of Ayer bylaw, wetlands bylaw, should be at the table and be part of that conversation and be treated as expert in that place. Is that a fair way of describing it?
No.
Okay. Go ahead. This is a discussion, guys.
I'll let Jonathan finish first.
Go ahead, John. And I didn't mean to step on you, Jonathan,
No,
but I didn't want to get into an argument.
First of all, I want to say that this is not the first time we're working closely with conservation. We've worked closely with them on 3 previous OSRDs. So I just that's a minor point. But I also think we have to be cognizant of what our own bylaws and our own regulations impose upon both bodies in terms of what their respective authority and responsibilities are. And of course, I want to work with the Conservation and Mutual Goodwill, as we always have. But I also want to be sure that we're absolutely consistent with the processes that are articulated in our laws. That's it. That's my concern.
Thank you. I'm sorry to have jumped in there. Mr. Diskin.
It's clear that the Conservation Commission has taken a step that's well beyond what we've ever done at another OSRD project, and asking for an outside consultant to look at the conservation analysis. The conservation analysis is typically, as it's written in our bylaws, their recommendation to the planning board after studying the characteristics of the land and determining a priority, number 1, number 2, or they call it medium, high, and low, high, medium, and low priority. the most important resources to be protected on the site. However, in this particular case, we already know what all those resources on the site. I've looked at so many documents about this site, served on a number of committees, and we studied it as priority land. We studied it under the open space and recreation plan. And there's no question that we all know the entire site could be considered as high priority. There's almost no medium or low priority. So I just don't understand how the Conservation Commission can consider themselves to consider an outside consultant to tell us what we've studied on this land for years and years and years. I think it's a stretch for them to go out and hire a consultant. And I don't endorse the idea of a Conservation Commission asking. Now, the applicant has agreed to pay for that consultant. So if that's the case and the applicant agrees, I would say a quick review of the documents that are in place, all the permits that are in place, the conservation analysis language, the conservation analysis guidelines, which they have already submitted their analysis in a response to the 17 guidelines, all of which come back to the planning board in a recommendation. And it's ultimately the planning board's final decision as to what the actual low, medium, and high priority land is, with the thought that typically that priority is being pushed by the applicant to attain 50% of the land to build on. That's typically what we've found out in the other 3 OSRDs, that the applicant is trying to maximize the density and get to the 50% rule, the minimum that we require. That doesn't apply here. They're only building on about 14 or 15 or 16% of the land. So we already know that the rest is going to be preserved as open space, and they're willing to, the documents that are in place show that it's going to get a conservation restriction. There's almost no information about the land that we don't know. So my contention is, look at the area of the property that we pretty much can just break it. It's a low where there's developed roads, land that's been stripped, land that's been blasted, land that's already been driven on and used by, previous construction projects, and highlight the difference between that low priority location and the rest, which we know is all high priority. Doesn't matter what organization you go to, Audubon, Mass Wildlife, the Conservation Commission, reports on the Open Space and Recreation Committee, the Priority Lands in Town report from 2018. They all rank this, and we all know that it's considered to be a high priority. And we're all knowledgeable of that. We're not going to learn. I don't believe I'm going to learn. Maybe some other members of the board would learn. I'm not going to learn anything more about the importance of maintaining that property than we know right now. So if the Conservation Commission agrees that they need to get an outside consultant, and I did attend their meeting last week, and they discussed it and agreed. They did not take a formal vote, but they did agree in a discussion. If they feel that that's important and that the applicant is willing to pay for that, of course, we'd look at it, but I'm not sure that it's going to change my opinion of what I already know is high priority land. Jonathan and I have walked it all over the place pretty much now. Most people have. And we pretty much know we're trying to protect as much as we can and concentrate most likely at the end of the day that if there is development, it'll happen on the land that's been previously disturbed already and would be considered low priority. So to me, it's an exercise that I think should be done quickly, because I'm not sure that stretching it out much longer is going to make a difference between what we know as being the best land to save and the land that we think is the least important to save. And I'm not even going to think that there's medium. I think it's going to be just, to me, it's low or high, and squeeze it in as best we can. So that's what I have to say. I think I basically said a mouthful. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, thank you, Mr. Diskin. Mr. King, Ms. Murray, any comments
Yes.
or questions? Go ahead, please.
Yeah, no, I agree. I really appreciate Jonathan's input and Ken's clarity of dividing the land into 2 categories. I think, of course, we're working together with the Conservation Commission, and I think one thing to put some words of caution out there directed to Mark, that as we need to be clear, and it's hard. I get it. It's hard to be clear where roles and responsibilities differ, and who's responsible for, we talk about stormwater, and we even dabble into tree preservation, but we really, I don't think we get into wetlands. So I think it's good to keep in mind what the roles of the two boards are and how we do work together. And then more pointedly, if there is a concern, I guess I'm going to try to just do an example of what I think you're saying, Jonathan, and that is this third point about blasting impact on wildlife. I don't think is a planning board issue. If I would think that's a conservation commission issue. If they want to investigate it, then an advocate should go to them and ask for it. And then, well, I'll stop there and for comment.
Thank you.
Good points.
I wanted to go
Yeah,
back to one more time. Sorry, Jeff.
Oh, yes.
It's an open discussion amongst the board members. Go ahead, Ken.
So I just want to go back to you, Mr. Chair, and say that there's no intent by myself or anyone on the board to overstep the conservation's responsibilities under the Wetland Protection Act or the town wetland bylaws. We know they have to go before conservation for notices of intent, and we know they have to go through conservation for anything that applies to our local wetlands bylaw we recently passed. So that's not what we're talking about. We would obviously, and we do obviously want to cooperate with conservation. We have in the past, but I think there might be. I don't want just to think that we're trying to override their responsibility that they have inherently under the law. That's what I'm getting at. Thank you.
I appreciate that, but it's also nice. It's also illuminating and illustrative to get people's to talk about this honestly amongst the board. It is something we've been waiting. We are in a process. The process will take place if and when we do get further information from the applicant. But I think it's helpful to have this conversation at this point. Anybody else have anything further? Or Mark, have you gotten what you think you need?
I think
us?
so.
Okay.
I think at some point it may be necessary to have a joint meeting with the Conservation Commission, either invite them to one of our early meetings on this or vice versa, to discuss the overlap and what they see their charge as and what we see our charge as. And if there's something that the Conservation Commission will not cover in whatever they do, whether the planning board wants to take that up.
Okay.
So I see this as sort of in flux right now.
Okay.
I'm just relating what I heard from the conservation agent, as well as my knowledge of the Conservation Commission's meeting last week. So I just want us to begin thinking about this, since environmental concerns will come up.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, and I'm gonna go way out on a limb now, Mark, and I'm gonna say, yeah, we've been thinking about this. You found out, didn't you? We've been thinking about this a lot. Yeah, Mr. Krantz.
Oh yeah.
I want to button this up and get on to the rest of the agenda. So, Mr. Krantz,
I'll make my comment will be brief. My general thinking about this, and in fact, in any of these issues as they arise in the future regarding hiring outside consultants, is that we should be careful that we're pursuing knowledge that has the potential to meaningfully impact a decision of ours. And I think we have to hold that standard, that we're not just fishing for information in general, we're specifically looking for information that's germane to decisions that are within our authority to make. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you for that comment.
Here.
Yeah. We're not going to vote on that one. Thank you very much, Mr. Krantz. So I heard it. Okay, great. So Mr. Krantz,
are you looking for motions to continue the hearing?
We had the discussion. Now we got to do the motions to continue and make sure we keep Heather happy.
Okay, I'd like to I make a motion to continue the public hearing for the definitive subdivision Wright Road, Stratton Hill, to our next meeting on December 14th, 2021.
Seconded.
Thank you, Ms. Murray, for seconding that. Any discussion?
Yes,
Hearing none. I'm sorry?
yes.
Go ahead.
Sorry, this is, I got to keep this up because we're going to go many, many months in the future.
Hey, Mark, can you unshare your screen, please?
Oh, yes.
Go ahead, Ken.
yes.
Go ahead.
So now that we've talked about in a discussion, I'll step back to reality, which is we really are looking in anticipation that we can make that next meeting and that the applicant will submit some amended plans if they have in fact been working on amended plans, as they've mentioned. So all this discussion is really, our thoughts and at this point in time, and that could change a little bit, if the amended plans come in and are, look differently, or there's something that's been gained. But I would remind all of us that the applicant is really the person who does carry the torch, and they have to, show us in their presentations and overcome any discussions or any negatives that might be in front of them. So it would really be our responsibility to respond to them and not direct them. So we'll wait for that and see how that all works out. And lastly, I guess that's kind of what I was getting at is I'm hoping that the documents come in, we have a basis to, have some solid discussion in the future and not speculate. And lastly, I'd like to say that if in the event that the Conservation Commission, does go on their own, which is fine, that we potentially would have potentially a dual path moving on, that if we get drawings into the planning board would simply move as they research and understand those drawings and, cover questions that come up on those drawings while the conservation analysis might be going on. But it's really up to the applicant to show to conservation that, they're in the right spot and that their amended drawings fall within the low priority area, if that's the case. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you. Any further comments?
Did we get a second?
Yes, Ms. Murray seconded it. That was about
Thank
2
you.
minutes ago. Okay, so we're going to vote by Hollywood Squares voting. Mr. Krantz, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Murray?
Aye.
Mr. Diskin?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Mr. Krantz, may I ask you to do
Yep.
it for the next one?
I make a motion to continue the public hearing for the stormwater management permit for Wright Road, Stratton Hill in our next meeting on December 14th.
Seconded.
Thank you, Mr. Krantz. Thank you for the second, Ms. Murray. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Krantz, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Murray?
Aye.
And Mr. Diskin?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
I'd like to make a motion to continue the site plan review for air zoning bylaws, section 9.6, land clearing and grading for Wright Road, Stratton Hill at our next meeting on December 14th.
Seconded.
Thank you for the second, Ms. Murray. Hearing no discussion, Mr. Krantz, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Murray?
Aye.
Mr. Diskin?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. Next on our agenda is a town planner update announcements.
Okay, basically, I'll keep this really brief since it's almost 8:15. Basically, I've written down the things that I need to do before the next meeting, which is to look into any changes to the state law that promote affordable housing. I still need to write the letter to the AG's office regarding the light industrial lot size and whether that can be treated as a typo. So hopefully I will get those in motion and can report back at the December 14th meeting on both of those. Also, for December 14th, we'll have the Ayer Shirley Regional High School Athletic Field Project site plan before
We
us.
also, if I may, we're expecting to meet soon. Mr. Krantz, I've lost track of our Montechusett Regional Planning
Oh,
Commission.
right.
So let's see if we can, we don't have to do it now. Let's see if we can revive that between now and the next meeting and get it scheduled.
Yeah, perhaps the two of us can talk offline.
You know my phone number. Happy
Great.
to,
Let's do
okay.
that. Okay,
happy
we'll
to-
follow up.
Yeah, no, I lost track of that also. It's just been a
Okay.
busy couple of
So the
weeks.
two of us will have, okay, great.
And he was not available this week or the next meeting, if I remember correctly, but we'll talk about it
That's right.
afterwards. Anything else, Mark, that you might have? an
No,
answer?
that's all. That's what I have for now.
I think Mr. Diskin, you
Yep.
raised your hand,
Yeah,
yes, sir.
I'd like to, volunteer to help Mark on the letter to the AG if need be. And certainly if he wants to draft it, I'll look at it and help him put it together.
Okay.
I think that'd be great. Thank you.
Yes, good.
That'd be great. Okay.
Thank you, Ken.
The meeting minutes from November 9th, we don't have, and that's perfectly fine. Appreciate, you guys got to know this. I'm just gonna. I walked into Heather's office last week to look up something unrelated, and she had, I think, 30 building applications to process that day, generating lots of work. And so we're very understanding about that stuff. Okay. At this point in time. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, given what's going on in the projects we've been working. We've got a lot going on in town. Administrative announcements, old business, new business. Does anybody have anything they want to add? I've got one thing I want to talk about. Please, Mr. Diskin.
No, you go ahead if you want.
Took a look at the short-term rental. And I got to come up with the, I've got to find some time to write a possible bylaw.
Ooh,
What? There's a lot of good information out there. There aren't any bylaws right now that are reflective of a town similar to ours. So I need to take the information I sent out to you all a little while ago and actually come up with some sort of recommended bylaw that we can either kick around or send out to a consultant and ask them to work on it. Okay. Mr. Diskin, what did you have?
so this is a question for the board, but I think Mark may have heard me mention this before, but I want to full disclosure. So there's a project, a big project going, south of my house here, Air Solar 2. And that was done under a site plan review proposal. And it's also got a conservation, order of conditions. But I was concerned and I called Dan Van Skelwick. So I want to let you guys know that I called Dan, the DPW. I'm not sure how, and since I had to abstain from the meeting, I didn't pay attention to the decision that much. But what I'm asking is if the board can review and look at the conditions that would involve inspections on the job. So we're building a very complex retaining wall system, culvert system, and a number of other construction sequences that typically, if it was a subdivision, would be inspected by DPW. So I asked Dan Van Skelwick about that, and he thought I was bringing up a fairly valid point that during the approval process, especially in Solar 1, and the DPW comments, were incorporated into the project, and in both 1 and 2, of course. And Mark Wetzel was very concerned with the steps because, in essence, we're right directly next to a wetland. There's a lot of stormwater, very, very complex stormwater procedures on this project, much more complex than we saw on 99 Fitchburg Road or anywhere else for that matter. So the question was, is there a method, I guess, for the town to be protected in the event that someone does inspections during the process? So typically, as I spoke to Dan about, and he mentioned, and we both rattled off the same things, you typically would have someone like Mr. Schultz inspecting the foundations, and you'd have typically somebody else inspecting, reinforcing steel and doing concrete testing and, compaction testing on the roads, they'd be doing test pits, just all the things that we typically would see in a process that was the road. Yet we have a very complicated, it's really not much more than, it's really the first 600 or 700 feet that's complicated. The rest is not very complicated. But that was my concern, and I'm not sure that there's anything there that, without adding an extra workload to somebody that can do inspections. So this is a thought for this project, but it's a thought for future projects that go along that are in the site plan review process. So typically, the other source, I'm sure you might be aware that there is an environmental monitor that is there that's watching the process for the Conservation Commission, and they submit weekly reports. their main concern, and I got some of the reports, and they're very, very comprehensive. So it's pretty nice to see that in place. Their main concern is the work, that occurs within the boundary of the, the limit of work by the silt fences and hay bales. But they're not going to be concerned, I don't believe, with structural integrity of building systems and whatnot. So that's the question. I throw it out for you guys to consider. And I have brought it up to DPW, so he's thinking about it too. So he may work internally in the town to figure out, how they do it. So.
And yeah, that's an interesting piece because you are talking about what is a fairly narrow engineering expertise in road work. And I don't know that anybody in town, I don't know if you have anybody in town who can do that. Just off the top of my head, number one. Number two, if they would be appropriate for someone in town to do it. Did you get any feedback on that, Ken?
Well, everything I just said to you guys tonight, for the record, I wanted to make sure we talked exactly what I said to him. So his concern was exactly the same. Oh yeah, geez, I don't know how we can handle that type thing. We do have a complicated stormwater system. We do have a complicated retaining wall system. We do have structural issues. And how are they, going to be inspected? That was the real question.
Okay. I don't think so basically you're putting a question on the table at this point, not looking for an answer right away.
No, I'm just saying that, it's something that the board should be aware of, I guess, and if we get another complex project like this.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Mr. Krantz.
Yeah, just as a follow-up to Ken's comments, if it turns out that there's no one in town that either has the time or the specific expertise for this level of complexity, this particular project, what are our available options for hiring a talent that could do the inspections for us? Do we have the authority to request that? Where would the money come from? Just the practicalities of of having that inspection done.
I can comment for a sec.
I was going to ask you, yeah.
So the argument as presented by the applicant, because I did listen to it, was that it was just as important to them to do it right as it was to the board to approve the project. And they were assuring us that, it wouldn't be to their benefit to do anything wrong because they wouldn't be able to get the return on the investment. So that was a valid concern. And that's one of the reasons they talked about not having to bond the project and things like that. So the real answer to your question, Jonathan, is there an item in your decision or approval that says that the design engineer will provide reports and sign off that the project is completed in accordance with the plans? That level of expertise is provided by the fact that they designed it, and therefore they have the ability to understand that it was completed in accordance with the drawings. So that's just one way to do it.
Thank you.
And that's actually what I was thinking about, Mr. Diskin. And if I can draw your memory back to 99 Fitchburg Road, that one we worked on a long, long time ago. Actually, one of the comments from DPW was that they wanted soil samples but didn't need to be witnessed. In other words, they would trust the expertise of the engineer to go out, identify where the samples will be taken, identify what the samples are, what the composition of the samples are, and how those composition of samples will be will handle the runoff. Because at the end of the day, that infiltration basin working appropriately is really critical to that project. So in some cases, yeah, is the fox watching the henhouse door? Quite possibly, but also you've got engineers who are staking their careers by signing it up to it. So there's a certain amount of feel good about that.
Okay.
It would be nice to say they've done 10 test holes, 10 test pits. Someone take a look at 2 of them. But if you may have noticed, DPW said we don't feel that we have to witness this, given that project. Okay, right. So that would be kind of an illustrative example of what I think what Mr. Diskin is talking about. And I got to tell you, I was actually visiting Mr. Diskin's house the other day, looking over the project. It's a scary mess right now. But that's a normal thing to have happen when you are roughing out a road in an area like that. But it's a scary mess. It really is. Anything else, Mr. Diskin, that you had on your mind?
I think I've taken up enough of your time, so thank you all.
I appreciate it. I'm gonna, whatchamacallit? We're gonna take a couple more minutes and thank you very much, Cindy. Visiting ongoing projects.
Yes.
I know none of us has actually had a chance to do that. I'm going to be away, but I would be more than happy. Every single person currently working in town has been more than welcoming when we say we want to visit the site. Okay. And I don't want to take a proponent's time away or make them come to town for 5 different meetings on a site, but we've got a limited amount of daylight and a limited amount of good days coming up. I'd like to see if we can't come up with a strategy for visiting the sites here in town. I think I told you all that Catania looks amazing. Well, Nathan, you tell me, that hole's been filled in. You can't see it anymore. They are
Right.
flying over there. Okay, they're getting their inspections and they're moving forward over at Catania. So, and if you happen to go down Washington Street, and I know Mr. Diskin goes around Washington Street, I think Ms. Murray goes down Washington Street, I know Jonathan, you do. I drive by there, ride my bike by there as often as I can. Things are happening over there also.
Oh, yeah.
So, I would like it. And, you know, I'm heading out of town. And by the way, happy Thanksgiving to you all. I hope you have a wonderful time with your family and if you're traveling, a safe travel. But I'd like to see if we can't find some time to put together to go visit some of these sites. And we might have to do it during the work week when they're working. So I would ask you, does anybody have any projects they think would be first on our list? Go ahead, Mr. Diskin.
No.
Washington Street?
I'm waiting.
Jonathan, Washington Street?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to just talk about Washington Street right now because it's something that I've been chatting with DPW about. Washington Street is an interesting project. All of the homes on Washington Street need sewerage in order to get building permits. Sewerage is getting put in with the land work. So at this point, I don't know what the decision is, but if you remember what they were going to do in the plans, they were going to have a downhill system that pumps back out to Washington Street. Well, the 2 duplexes that are closer to town can't be built or can't get building permits until the sewage solution is in place. So they're working on maybe doing it in parallel.
Well, they have a building permit already. The foundations are going in right now.
Yeah,
Okay,
Jeff,
good,
I have they submitted for the other 2 duplexes as well. So all 4 of those are in the process. They have permits or in the process of getting permits.
Thanks, Heather. That's updated information. But the other side of the coin is if they're on Washington Street, they could turn it around and connect to the town. Find a way on Washington Street. So they don't have to wait for their private sewage pumping station to be put in place.
Right.
Okay. So, but that's an interesting conundrum if you think about it. Okay. And they obviously have worked out a solution. So that project continues. Okay. Yeah, I actually saw I went by today, Ken, and I saw the concrete company trucks there.
Yeah.
The form trucks. The foreman trucks there. I didn't see that the forms were in because I was looked the other way when I went by. So besides Washington Street, anything else at this point? The pond, I keep forgetting the name of it. Shaky Hill
Oh,
Pond?
Shake Mill Pond, yeah.
Shaky Mill Pond. Has anyone been through there lately? It's just a cul-de-sac. There's a porta potty in the back. I haven't seen any other work going on over there at this point.
Jeff, just so you know, they have pulled 2 building permits and they do have foundation permits essentially for 2 of the lots.
Fantastic. So the sewer was finished and tested?
Yeah, must have, because Josiah submitted the building permits and Charlie went out there today to do the bottom of hole. So I'm
Fantastic.
sure they're gonna be pouring the foundation as long as they pass their inspection soon. So just so you
Okay,
guys
no,
know, so they are in the process, and I'm knowing how Mr. Aho works, those will probably all come pouring in just like Peter DeCarlis's did on Littleton Road. So, which those have gotten occupancy for one of those houses already on Littleton Road too, just so you guys know.
Yep.
They are,
Yeah. So as I
everything's going
said,
full bore as far as the subdivisions that have been approved.
Heather's been busy, and there's lots of permits that have to be taken care of for each building, each portion of the project. And so, okay, but I would ask you to take a moment. You're driving through town, take an extra moment, stop, get out of the car and look. If you have any questions, by all means, bring them to the meeting. We can talk about it. If anybody sees anything that we should go and look at or questions it, this is the time while the projects are in. I'm not asking for 5 different inspectors. I'm just saying, as you go through town, take a look at it. I know Nathan has to take a look at Catania all the time because that's where he's over there all the time. And so I would just put that out in front of you. Okay. And maybe after we have an opportunity to take a breath after this holiday, we can maybe put something together and maybe pick up 1 or 2 along the way. I'd suggest that we go for a walk and look at Ayer Solar too, but none of us have deep enough boots at this point to get in there safely. It's muddy. It's really muddy. With that being said, anything else from anybody? I'd heard anybody else. I want to thank you all for your patience this evening. I thought it was a really good meeting. And I want to pass along something. I was approached by more than one person in the last couple of weeks. And I'm not kidding when I get to say they are excited about what's going on. Even what you hear in some places, there are people who actually recognize and understand that the planning board is doing a heck of a good job. And they thank us for it. So I'd like to share that with you all. So when it's 8:30 at night and you're doubting how you're spending your time, please don't lose sight of that. Okay, guys?
Thanks you all, guys. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Yeah.
Yes, happy
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank you all also. And thank you, Mark, for putting that together.
Yep.
Thank you, Mark.
A motion to
moved.
adjourn.
Seconded. Good night.
Thank you, Ms. Murray. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Krantz, King, Diskin, and Murray, and the chair all say aye, just for the record. Thank you, Cindy.